Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how to work with canvas size. We've already worked with image size. Remember that image size actually has to do, I'm just going to open that and remind you, has to do with adjusting the overall size of our image, either by resampling it and changing it or by just adjusting the height and the width and the pixels and seeing how it will print. So remember that image size actually directly affects the pixels and the dimensions of the image. Canvas size, which is right below there, is a little bit different. It's not going to change anything in the image. It's just going to change what it sits on. So think of this literally like a canvas. If you took your paper photograph and laid it onto a canvas that was bigger than your image, that's one of the things we're doing with canvas size. Right now the canvas fits the image exactly. It's snug at the corners, but we want to increase the size. So we do get our current size, we get our dimensions. We can change how we look at dimensions by percent or centimeters. I prefer to work in inches because I'm just that way. I grew up with them, but if you're more comfortable with those other ones, it's fine to work with those. So here we are, we're in canvas size. I'm going to increase my canvas size by a couple of inches, and I'm just choosing this sort of randomly. I'm not being too fussy. I'll show you how to be a little bit more precise in a minute. And I'm just going to make sure that we're on white in our background. I'll show you how to play with that later so you can see it. Hit OK, and you can see that it's actually given me a white border. This is extended the canvas so that we have this extra space and given it the color white. You have lots of options on this, and I'll show these to you in a second. Let's go back and show you a couple more options in canvas size. Okay, so one of the things that I almost always prefer to do is to work with relative. So if I click that here, you see that it's 0. So you're just entering in the exact amount that you want to increase the height and the width based on the original. So instead of actually making it 22 and sort of wildly guessing, I'm just going to put 2 inches and 2 inches, and then I know it's going to be even. I'll change this background so you can see some of your options. I'm going to do black and click OK. So now we have this nice even border. Now right now I'm doing this sort of decoratively. I don't often do this with my images, but some people like to. It can be handy for portfolios. But that's not the most useful thing about canvas size. So I'm going to Command Z. I want to go back. I want to show you one other option that you have, and then we're decoratively, and then we're going to move forward just so that you actually see this. I can, in addition to those other colors, I can pick other. The color picker comes up. You're familiar with this. I could pick a crazy pink, but I can also go and use this wonderful picker, right? So I go, notice as soon as I move here, the eyedropper appears, and I can click anything in there. I like to do this if I do use a border. I like it to match. Go ahead and do 2 and 2. So now it says other down there, and click OK. And now we have this nice, sorry, I'm going to increase that. We have this nice canvas extension, nice and even, that matches our background. Okay, but that's not the thing that's the absolute most useful thing about the canvas size. Now, I am going to increase the overall canvas size so that I can actually add a second layer here. Now, there are going to be some things that change in the panel, but first of all, I'm going to go ahead. I have another file here. So a lot of the decorative things that you do with canvas size are only available if you're working on a single layer. So I left this other one off, but I'm going to go ahead now and drag a second layer over, pop it in there, close out that first one. That's why I didn't open them together. And I'll go back to full screen. Okay, so I have these 2 images. I want to actually use the sky and the volcano in the first image. Take this guy out and make that the sky and the background for this image, which is another volcanic area. Now you can see a couple of problems. One is that there's really not room in this image, right? There's just a little bit of this blue sky. The other thing is that the sizes are different. Let's deal with the size first. So you already know how to do this. I'm going to do a Command T. Actually, it looks like my size might be fine. Ah, yes. It just came in a little wonky. And actually, I could make it a little bit smaller. You can see that so that it fits it exactly. Good. So I've got it transformed so that the two images fit on top of each other quite nicely, but there's really not room. If I did do, you're familiar with this, if I went ahead and did a magic wand, oops, yeah, magic wand's going to pick up too many things. Let's do quick selection. And if I do quick selection of the sky, there we go. Very easy selection because it's such a blue. And I do a mask, invert it. That's cool, but there's not very much of that sky showing through. I want a lot of sky, and I want some of the mountains. If I shrink this first image, then there's going to be space on the sides. So let's do something different. I'm going to go ahead and leave that selection done so you can see it. And I'm going to unlock this. And I'm going to move this layer down for now because I want to calculate this based on this top layer. I'm going to go back to canvas size. And I'm going to do a couple things differently. Notice that now that we have two layers, it's not going to allow me to play with my colors. That's fine, because that's not what I want. I actually just want a little bit more space to work. So it's sort of an empty canvas. I'm going to leave it on relative, and I'm going to do a really important thing. I'm going to click down here at the anchor point. I'm going to click here, and this means that this part of the image is going to stay at the top, and I'm going to extend the canvas down. I'm just going to change the height. I don't need any more width. The image was 12.83 images. I'm going to make it twice that. I'm going to add, so I'm going to add 13 images. 13 images. I'm going to add, let's see if I can do this, 13 inches. Now, when I click, you see that it's actually extended the canvas size down, which is nice. So the image is sitting on the top. I can click on the lower image that I was playing with. I'm going to click the Move tool, V, and just move it down. Oops, and it looks like I forgot I have to also do it this way. There we go. And then I can move it down until, and I can see I can do some other things. I've got a little bit of space I have to cover here. That's a different solution. But you can see now that I have actually this nice dramatic background. I can recrop it to fit. I could even add a third image in. So you can see that the canvas size gave me that room. Let's just try, just for fun, I'm going to go into transform and I'm going to flip this horizontally. Yeah, that gives us a little bit more mountains in the background. So, final step, in order to make this work, go to the crop tool. Remember always to do not delete your crop pixels, although in this case we're just really going to clip the canvas. And we have our new image with lots of room for sky.